curve to it, and what we'll do to do that is we'll take this number, our total circumference, and we're going to multiply it by about 0.87. About 87% of the circumference is the number I have randomly come up with being, as an average, a good curve for a parasol. So 92.6772 times 0.87 equals 80.62916. All right, and again, we're going to divide that by 7. So divided by 7. It gives us 11.5184. And our original number we started off with was 13.2396. What we're doing here is we're getting the amount of reduction on each panel. And 13.2396 divide our clear 13.2396 minus 11.5184 equals, this going to let me see, yep, 1.7212. Now this number is generally going to be between 1 to 3 inches. If it's any more than that, your calculations have probably fouled up somewhere and we need to work on them a little bit. So now I have 1.72.12. I'm going to divide that by 2. And that's going to tell me about how much I'm going to have to take off each side, which is divided by 2, and that equals 0.8606. Which is a little less than 7/8 of an inch. So we're going to need to taper it in about 7/8 of an inch. Alright, again, we're going to take our mark here, and we're going to mark it, and we're going to mark about 7/8 of an inch. Now the other measurement I like to have is the point on your parasol from the end of the rib to where it hinges, because you don't want to taper up any further than this. So our maximum taper is going to be below that. Any further than that, and it's going to cause this to bow too hard, and it'll bow it where it's not supposed to bow. So you want this in your flat circle, but you want this part to be where it's bowing it down and just drawing the edge of the thing down. And actually you can mark, below that a little bit. So I'm marking at about 7 inches up from that one. I'll mark 7 inches up from this one on this side. And again, I'm going to take my curve, and you can do this by hand. You haven't got to curve it exactly like this. I'll take my curve and I'll draw my curve. But I do want to make sure my curve is drawn from the same points on each side, so the curve's the same. So there we go. This will be our new lines. This is going to be the straight of grain of your panel. Okay, we're not quite finished with it yet, but it's getting close. Are we ready for the next step? All right, our next step is we are going to come up this middle line and we're going to extend it 1/2 inch above where it is. We're going to draw that out to 1/4 inch. That's 1/8 of an inch on each side. And then a 1/2 inch below your point, we're going to taper this back into the parasol. So you can go a little bit smoother than that. So you'll end up with it tapered in just a little bit more. All right, now remember this pink line is now our outer edge. We're going to add a seam allowance to it. So 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. This curved portion, 1/4 of an inch, 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 1/4 of an inch. You're going to get tired of hearing me mumble 1/4 of an inch. This is what we're working on, is adding a seam allowance. Our seam allowance on this style of the seam I'm going to teach you to make later is going to be a little bit different than this. However, that will keep it nice and taut. And then along the bottom, it looks kind of like that. I'm going to kind of connect these lines so that they're a little bit smoother. Alright, so can you see the blue line all the way around the outside edge? That is your parasol pattern piece. It should be pretty close to what you need. There may be a few little adjustments, but this should get you started without having to fight for a lot of trial and error.